So are you a master's rider? Hey everyone, it's Graeme Street and you're joining me here on cyclo-core.com for my morning cup of joe. And a question that I got last week that has had me thinking quite extensively the past couple days. I released a podcast last week about off-season training questions from you, my listener. Thanks for writing in. And one in particular kind of caught my eye. It was from Ron, and Ron said to me, Graeme, excuse my ignorance, but I'm new to cycling. I've only been riding for a couple of years. You talked about your master's program in master's riding. What does master's actually mean? It's actually a great question, and one that I've been thinking about all week as I'm wrapping up my new Cyclo 90 Master's Edition program, which is going to be releasing in short supply next week before Thanksgiving, and then in full the week after as well. So I'll keep you abreast of that. What is a master's rider? And more importantly, what are some of the secrets of a good master's rider that I have learned over the past decade plus? Whether you know it or not, over 80%, maybe even more by this point, of my customers, listeners, and people like yourself are in the master's category. Master's category is defined in racing as any rider, male or female, over the age of 35. Now, many of you obviously in your 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, I've got customers well above their 80s, may disagree with that term of master's rider and 35 years old. I mean, technically, I'm a master's rider at 39 going on 40. That's how we define it in racing. Is that what defines a master's? I don't know. What about mileage? How many miles you do in a year? You know, for years being around veteran or older riders, I guess you'd say, a lot of the discussions that I hear at coffee shops around the ride is how many miles they've done this year. Well, I've done 3,000 miles this year. I'm short compared to last year. I've only done 4,000 miles as opposed to my typical 5,000. I'm going to try to cram some in the month of December and freeze my butt off. Seriously, I've heard those discussions. Does mileage define us as a master's level rider? Does it? Our bike, what kind of bike we have, what kind of gears we're running. Compact in the front. We've got 11 speed or a SRAM 20 speed, or we're running carbon rims. Does that make us a master's level rider? Does that make us a better rider? It's good questions. Here's how I've been thinking about it the past several weeks unconsciously, and really defined it for myself over the past couple days as I'm wrapping up my master's program for you. And it's funny because as I've been doing the program and filming the new hit sessions, everything that I've written down here that I want to share with you is glowing in the program, and it makes me feel good that this information has value for all of us, whether you're using my programs or not. 5 secrets that I have learned from other masters riders over the years is this. First of all, age does not define mastery. It doesn't. Flat out. I know that the racing scene wants to define a master's rider into a category. Any of you that have raced or are a racer, whether it's road or mountain bike or otherwise, if you race in the master's category, be prepared for some seriously strong, skilled, experienced level riders. Not always, but in general, the master's races are some of the most intense races in cycling today. They really are. And there's some reasons for that. They prioritize quality over quantity, which I've been saying for 15 years now in this business. I think what defines a master the most is how much attention to detail or quality within their training, their recovery, their nutrition, their listening to their brain, how much quality they put into that really defines the quality of riding that they have. When I hear the discussion of, well, how many miles I did this year, how many miles I did last year, I mean, I have no idea how many miles I did last year. I have any idea how many miles I did the year before that. I don't know how many miles I've done this year. And frankly, I don't really care how many miles that I've done this year. What I care about is what kind of quality results or feelings have I gotten from my training, which I think for most of us as a master's level rider, if we define it by age, most of us are not earning our income by riding our bike. Most of us are not. In fact, if anything, it's an economic drain on our system because of how much money we have to put in just to be a cyclist in general. But we're willing to do that because of the love and passion and energy we get back from it. And that comes, of course, from the quality. Second secret that I have learned both from myself As a master's level rider, I would consider myself a master's level rider, or constantly working on. I don't think there ever is a true master, but some things I've learned from you over the years. I've got tens of thousands of you that have taught me probably more than any book or education program that I've done has taught me. And one of the things that it definitely stands out to me is the refinement of fundamentals. When I was 15, I got my black belt in Kempo karate. I was the second youngest person in my karate organization to attain a black belt. 15 years old is pretty young to get one of those things, probably too young. I was stressed to wait longer, but my skill level was high enough, my memory recall was high enough, and my understanding of basic fundamentals, from the breathing to the combinations to everything, was enough to regurgitate on command. Now, does that make me a master because they wrapped a black belt around my waist and called me a black belt? What do you think? Probably not. Number one, I'm too immature at 15 years old to really understand what that ranking means, other than, hey, cool, I got a black belt. In fact, I'll tell you what, that black belt got me in a lot more fights that I would have cared to have avoided simply because I had a black belt. So, granted, I never lost a fight, but that's a different discussion. The refinement of the details of the fundamentals is really what, to me, defines a master. So if you're 35 plus, you've raced in 50 races or whatever it is, does that make you a master's? Technically on paper, yes. Does it make you a master's rider in my book? Not necessarily. I know plenty of people that are well over 35 years old that ride 5, 6, 8,000 plus miles a year that I would still not call a master's rider. And one of the reasons why is they still are not really refining the fundamentals. Muscular endurance, neuromuscular capacity, zone 3 plus level execution, zone 4 threshold execution. Do these numbers have to continually get better to become a master's rider? I say no. What has to happen is you have to be able to utilize the quality of what you've gained, your muscular endurance, your neuromuscular capacity, your zone 3 plus, and all the stuff that we go over ad nauseum in the Cyclo 90 base edition and the new master's edition coming out. Are there new tricks that I'm going to be showing you? There's some new things in there for sure. There's all the new videos are all polished and updated. Are there no more muscular endurance workouts in the Masters Edition compared to the original Cyclo 90? Well, of course there's muscular endurance workouts. In fact, if anything, we have more muscular endurance that I'm looking to build in the Masters program compared to the one prior. Why? Because the only way to get you improving in the master's level category, or moving towards a master's level cycling being, if you will, is to refine the most fundamental basics of cycling. There are no shortcuts, and any good master knows that, is that mastery comes from the removal of the things that don't need to be there, probably more than adding this new trick or that new trick. I mean, I go to my son's, karate classes. He's in karate right now as well. Same thing, Kempo karate. And his sensei, is usually unshaven, kind of unpolished looking. His gi is, ripped to hell. His black belt with multiple stripes is ripped to hell. It looks shredded. That, to me, represents more of an image of a master than how much he can regurgitate on command, meaning learning a skill and then refining that skill again and again and again. You can ask my kid, and you can ask anyone that is working towards mastery in anything, and they'll tell you, when you enter the master's realm, you don't advance forward, you actually go all the way back to the beginning. And in doing so, you begin to rework that which got you to this point. I'm not trying to get overly metaphysical on you here, but that's the truth. Mastery will always bring you back to the beginning, and as mundane and simple and boring as that may seem, the results that can come from redefining or reworking the fundamentals are extreme. In fact, they can be groundbreaking, which is what my goal is with helping you go from good results with Cyclo 90. And again, if you haven't used the Cyclo 90 base original, I still would recommend you begin there regardless of the category of rider or racer you are, or how fit you are, how not fit you are. Begin with my most fundamental and proven program. It's 3 plus years in the making. Literally, I think 40 or 50,000 cyclists have used it with great success. I am doing the master's version to help those that have already used it move even further forward, to refine what's already working. The fourth thing, and this is a big one, is the use of experience and execution. You know, it's one thing to gain strength and build your functional threshold power. We've talked about this, and I'm going to keep reiterating it to you, especially in the master's program. Gaining functional threshold power is important. Sure, we want to gain, go from 200 watts to 210, 210 to 220. But I think as a master, the most important thing is, regardless of how much you gain above a certain baseline, is how much you're able to use in the real world out on the bike when it is of most benefit to you. And there's a big difference between those two things. If I see someone get up to 300 watts from 250 on paper or on their trainer, great. You've gained 50 watts at threshold. That's significant, especially at 47 years old. Now, what can we use that for outside in the real world? Because if you're still out there not using your knowledge and experience or level of efficiency, you're missing out. Because if you waste energy, which is my fourth topic here, we're talking about getting the most from what you already have. So if I had no change this off season, and there's a chance that could happen, my threshold might remain plus or minus 10 from where it is right now, all off season. But if I refine how I execute that, how I bring it to fruition out on the road or on the trails, or how to elongate that for longer time spans out in the real world, then I have made tremendous gains if the end performance satisfies my goal or need. Does that make sense? It should, because as a master's rider, this is hypercritical. I don't get on the phone with a consult with a customer of mine and say, you're a master now because you're at 285 watts. That makes you a master. No, it doesn't. You could be at 375 watts of threshold. That still doesn't make you a master. It makes you strong, but that doesn't make you a master. A master allows you to come back and take that experience and then put it into the real world. And one of the most important things I've seen with that, and this one's gigantic, is the use of efficiency. Granted, if my threshold wattage is at 320 watts and I'm out in a group ride for 2.5, 3 hours and we're on a tough section, should I be hopefully at my threshold if the group's motoring along? If I'm an experienced master's rider, hopefully not. Hopefully, instead of being at 320 watts at my threshold, I'm at 220, 200, 180, tucked in, low, behind the group, using their energy, their lack of experience or possible error in judgment to help it benefit me. And then when I'm at an opportunity to exploit the strengths that I do have, I use it only when justified or needed. And again, this isn't just about racing or performing better or grabbing a KOM. This is about utilizing your skills, your knowledge, and executing those things along with your training, which you've gained, in a way that benefits you to the best possible way. Lastly, and I touch upon this in the master's program a lot. I touch upon it in the regular Cyclo 90 or the original Cyclo 90 a lot as well, but in the master's program, the master's program is tough, as it should be. It's tough. Is it more work? No. But one of the things that is priority is the recovery. Trying to train your body to recover quicker. One of the things that the master's age category struggles with the most, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75 years old. What's the biggest limiter there within those age brackets? It's going to be a recovery rate. Because as we get older, regardless of cyclist or not, in general, our recovery rate begins to decline. And that's directly linked to our neuromuscular and our hormonal systems naturally declining with age. The drop in growth hormone, the drop in testosterone, the increase in different progesterones, the decrease in effectiveness of insulin or IGF-1. These are the chemicals in our body that make us strong and youthful. And as we get older, those chemicals begin to decline. We use our training, especially one of the reasons why I still prioritize high intensity training in any program that I deliver, is that I know that stimulus, especially as you get into the master's age category, has dramatic benefit on maintaining or elevating those naturally declining hormones. And that is what gets the results for my customer. It helps to improve the overall recovery rate. It's not just how hard we train or how efficient we train, but how fast we can recover between those training segments. So if I can go from doing one HIIT 30 session per week to doing 2, Okay, with less time in between, I've improved what? My recovery rate. If I can go from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4, or if I can improve the quality or the power output within any given high intensity training session or any session period, I've also improved my recovery rate. That can be trained. And one of the reasons why my original Cyclo-90 program delivered such great results is I worked very hard and took several years to determine how to create an overall balanced plan of intensity and recovery. But one of the variables that I can't control is the natural instinct to know when today is just not my day. And I reiterate that again in any program that I do. Today's not your day and we're going, for the moon and you just don't got it, back it out, come back and fight another day. If you notice that you're in a window to go through to another level at that moment, then that experience as a master needs to shine through as well. You need to come through and take that moment by the horns and go get it. And again, that's where working with someone like myself, whether it's me or otherwise, to help get you into that window to burst through is imperative. Because when those things happen and you combine it with the appropriate recovery rate and the instinct to know, I worked really hard yesterday. I'm supposed to be doing this today. This is what Graeme has me on the Cyclo-90 training plan to do. My body's just not recovered yet. What's your decision? Follow what I say or follow what you say? Knowing instinctively that you need to take another day off or back it down a little bit. You are never wrong. I'm simply a guide that gives you an overall agenda. In the end, what makes you a master is knowing when to pull back and when to push through in short moments of time. As a master, you don't have oodles of time. You have to be very calculated in what times that you take to get the benefit that you're looking for. Usually for me, to sum up, when I see a master's level rider, when I see the potential for a master's level rider, the biggest thing I try to reiterate to them again and again is that I don't need more from you, I need better from you. And there's a big difference between those two things. More is just more. I need better. I need the best of what you have when you are delivering it, when you're doing, whether it's the training on a HIIT session, the core work, staying diligent with the material in the training plan, doing the quality control outside when you're on the bike, enjoying the bike and not training at all when you need to. Those things all factor in here. And to me, that's what makes a master's rider a master's rider. Are you one? I'm still working on it myself, and probably will never be a true master's level rider, but I'm getting there. I'm working on it, and knowing this information is helping me outline, not just for you, for my training systems, but for me as well. Remember, I'm my own customer, so anything that I package and deliver for you to use, I've already been using for years in advance to make sure that this is something that I can both use for myself and for you as well. My friends, I hope these set of tips are helpful. Please share it with other riders or your club. Next week is Thanksgiving here in the United States. So I do plan on releasing the new Masters Edition, hopefully by next Tuesday if everything goes well. I'm just wrapping up everything right now. Really kick butt program. I've got a couple special things for all current Cyclo-90 users. Premium members will get an addition. So if you're not a premium member, there's a link for it below. You can upgrade or move to premium now. That'll all be included for free with your premium membership, as well as consults with me, which are filled up, by the way, until early December. So if you are moving into premium, just know that you can download anything that you want from the system, Cyclo-90 Original, Cyclo-90 Master, Cyclo-90 In-Season, Cyclo Fuel, all the trainer sessions, everything that you want. But just keep in mind that I won't be able to do intensive one-on-one consults until probably second week in December. I'm already booked up through the first week of December. So this week, again, my friends, rather the smile on your face, I'll be sending out the release for Cyclo-90 Masters next week. In the interim, ride, be strong, be happy. I'll talk to you soon.